Hello and welcome to the first edition of Newsroom series on Channels Television. I'm Anne Nwawadu, and today we go to the southwestern zone of Nigeria. But first we start with our top stories from Rivers State. The Martin Amewele-led Rivers State House of Assembly have shut down all expenditure of the Rivers State governor until Governor Siminalayi Fubara presents his budget before the House. This follows a 7-day ultimatum given to the governor by the House on Monday last week to present his budget before the House. The leader of the House, Major Jack, raised the motion informing the House about the expiration of the 7-day ultimatum given to the governor to present the 2024 budget. And after deliberation, the House voted to shut down the Rivers State Consolidated Revenue Account, thus preventing Governor Fubara's administration from spending any money on behalf of the state. And now in the southwest, let's begin in Lagos State, where the government is set to hold the maiden edition of the Pan-African Carnival, Afropolis, for the promotion of Black cultural heritage, creativity, and innovation. The State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Toke Benson Awoyinka, disclosed this during a town hall meeting in Lagos, where he says the ministry is collaborating with Kudus Nikeku, a multi-model international artist, to host Afropolis, which is scheduled for October the 26th to November the 3rd.
John Randall Center for Yoruba Culture and History in Onikon area of Lagos Island is the venue for visitors working with the State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture for the forthcoming Afropolis Lagos 2024. They move around the center to have a glimpse of different cultural heritage displayed.
Outside there, you see the inscription on the wall. I don't know whether some of you have noticed it. You see what we call the Ifa divination, the old Ifa. That's what we call the Gugu in Yoruba.
The facility tells a story of Yoruba history and culture, which emerged from the restoration of a public swimming pool built in 1928 by John Randall, a prominent Lagosian in King George V Park. What better location to use for the maiden edition of the Pan-African Carnival, Afropolis, which will be coming up in October, than J. Randall?
We've been working tirelessly since last year to deliver something that I believe that Lagos has never seen before. We are going to mount a proper dance theater on the street of J.K. Randall, and that will have about 500-seater, a proper seat, then a proper stage, and you have your lights rig, and that's for the dance productions.
The State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Toke Benson Awoyinka, says the carnival will showcase African creatives with diverse tradition.
Afropolis, scheduled for the end of October through to early November, will transform Onikon's main street, John Randall Road, into a vibrant hub of artistic and technological excellence. The festival will feature a curated marketplace, traditional and contemporary performances, exhibitions, and more. It will bring together creatives, innovators, and enthusiasts from across the continent and beyond. The goal of Afropolis is to foster collaboration, inspire innovation, and celebrate diverse traditions and creativity of Africa.
One of the partners working with the state to ensure the success of the carnival is excited to be part of it.
Our mission basically is job and wealth creation and opportunities for creative expression for women and young people within the creative economy. So in summary, what we're doing is we're enabling creative economy growth through innovation and technology.
Afropolis is scheduled for October 26 to November 3. An artist from different African continents and beyond will be visiting Lagos to display their talent, thereby boosting tourism.
The federal government says it will continue to exert efforts aimed at bridging the housing deficit across Nigeria through various housing schemes. In line with this mission, the federal government has warned that it will not hesitate to take legal action against any developer that fails to deliver every housing project awarded to him or her to required standards. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, issued this warning during the groundbreaking of a 250 housing unit project in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Our correspondent, Bukola Oriwo, reports.
The Renewed Hope Cities of the federal government was launched with the sole purpose of addressing massive housing deficit across Nigeria, with a target to create about 50,000 housing units. As at the last count in 2023, the estimated housing deficit in Nigeria stood at 28 million units. Plugging this gap requires an estimated 21 trillion naira. At the flag-off ceremony of Renewed Hope Cities in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development announces that the 250 units housing are expected to be completed within 3 months.
Work is currently going on in each of these sites, and our plan is to have them all completed within the next 3 months and make available to Nigerians in line with Mr. President's desire to provide housing to all Nigerians. Under the Renewed Hope agenda, we are implementing a zero tolerance for uncompleted projects.
He warns contractors against substandard construction.
The developers adhere to the timeline and finish within 3 months so that we can begin the process of getting Oyo indigents to purchase and move in.
The Renewed Hope Estate holds tremendous promise in the area of job creation and value addition for residents of Oyo State.
This 250 housing units estate projects will create job opportunities during the construction phase for masons, bricklayers, plumbers, electricians, traders, and suppliers of building materials.
The Oyo State government, on its part, lauds the initiative by the federal government and asks that the Renewed Hope Estate be replicated across all geographical zones in the state.
This kind of development should not be limited to Ibadan alone. Oyo State is not only Ibadan. We have Adeodo, we have Ogun, we have New York. So the next phase of this project should be extended to Ogun, Ibarapa, Oyo, and even Ogun to the glory of God and to the benefit of the people of Oyo State.
With a timeline of 3 months for construction and delivery of the project, residents of Oyo State would hopefully, before the year ends, have at least 250 housing deficit plugged, solving some of the housing problems in the process. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
We head to Ekiti State now, where the International Federation of Women Lawyers, Ekiti State chapter, has appealed to the governor of the state, Biodun Oyebanji, to obey the recent Supreme Court judgment on local government financial autonomy. The group also called on women in Nigeria to be more involved in political activities and prevent being marginalized in decision-making in the country, adding that Ekiti State has zero tolerance for all forms of violence against women. Speaking after the annual Law Week program in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, the chairperson, Oyinade Olatubosun, says the Supreme Court judgment on financial autonomy has given the local government and will not only sterilize Nigeria's politics, but will help to make chairmen of local government more accountable and responsible in discharging their duties. Meanwhile, in a diverse opinion on the financial autonomy to the local government, a member of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, Honorable Iyabo Fakunle Okeme, shared her own views.
Supreme Court is the final court in Nigeria. And of course, except it wants to set aside its own judgment, which I don't see it in this case. So that judgment still stands. And I want to employ all state government to please abide by the judgments of this court, because if you don't respect the court, then what are we going to respect? So it's a judgment of the court. We cannot negotiate it. So it stands.
As a lawmaker, I am skeptical about the enforceability of this judgment. I am very, very skeptical. But time will tell. Time will tell. There are so many things that are not right. Though a common man on the street saw it as the triumph of the judiciary and all that, people were happy. In fact, I heard that some people roll out drums and they were dancing. But it is like, to me, it's like the Supreme Court is negating itself, running against the Constitution. Because the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria only recognizes 2 tiers of government, which is the federal and the state. So for the Supreme Court, being the federal court, to now meddle in the affairs of the states, it's somehow. But I know that it is the last has not been heard about it, because I know that this judgment will still be subject to the federal house to the lawmakers, Senate and the House of Reps.
As part of efforts to reach out to people at the grassroots, Ondo State government launched the Odatiwa Women Initiative to rural communities. According to the Special Advisor to Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa on Women Affairs, Dr. Seun Osamaye, the initiative is aimed at mobilizing, engaging and empowering the underprivileged, especially in rural areas.
The Odatiwa Women Initiative is reaching out to rural communities in Ondo State to identify with them and also donate some foodstuff to the elderly women. The Ondo State government's entourage is led by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Women Affairs, who notes that apart from the elderly women, female entrepreneurs, professionals, people living with disabilities, as well as students, will also be empowered.
Aside the rural and elderly women, aside this outreach, we are also going to be doing what we call capacity building development for our professionals and our entrepreneurs, because the entrepreneurs and professionals are the bedrock of every society. We need to identify them, we need to promote them, government needs to support them, so that way, especially the female entrepreneurs among them in Ondo State, so that they can help the government, get some of what we intend to do for our people. Aside that, we also have a program that is designed for female PWDs, that is, people living with disabilities.
Communities visited were all located in the Northern Senatorial District of the state.
We thank God for this present administration, because they are really doing good. So Iboropa of all places in Ondo State. So God remember us and bring our Commissioner for Women Affairs to this place. It's a great joy for us. Our people, they like doing frying gari. They are frying gari, and their gari is very good in testing, in everything. So we want gari industry here.
Foodstuff such as cassava, flour, maize, rice, noodles are distributed to the elderly women in the communities. Some of the beneficiaries thank the governor for the intervention, but not without making other demands.
We women, we thank her very much. We thank her very much, because those people, those politicians, most of people they don't even value women. But we thank God upon our women that value women. May God continue to bless.
The government is trying hard so that we will not go hungry, and that's what we want. So we are happy with what they've brought.
With the Odatiwa Women Initiative, the socioeconomic life of rural dwellers is expected to improve, thereby boosting the overall economy of the state.
And when Newsroom series comes in just a moment, Ogun State Police Command has made the latest arrest on kidnappers. We'll tell you the details. Please stay with us. Welcome back. In Ogun State, the police command has arrested 2 suspected kidnappers allegedly responsible for many kidnappings and killings in Ijebu-Igbo and neighboring towns in Ijebu North local government area of Ogun State, while 5 other members of the gang are at large. The 7-man kidnap gang, according to the State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alamutu, were responsible for the kidnap and eventual killing of a 71-year-old man and another 37-year-old man, and buried them in shallow graves at 2 different locations. Leading men and officers of health officials to the bushes where their victims were buried in shallow graves, the Commissioner of Police assured residents that the long arm of the law would catch up with them and the fleeing members.
To these unsuspecting residents of Agodo, A remote area in Ijebu-Igbo, Ijebu North Local Government, this road will pass for just a road leading to farms in the locality. But a recent discovery has proved otherwise, as kidnappers are said to have carried out their nefarious activities deep down this forest. The walk seemed long and unending, as the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Abiona Alamutu, led men, officers, family members, and health officials into the bush, where a 71-year-old man and another 37-year-old victim of the gang were buried in shallow graves.
Thank you. Brother, thank you.
In handcuffs, the two suspects, Monde Igwe, 41 years of age and a father of 3, and Chukuma Bartholomew, 40 years of age and a father of 2, and members of a 7-man gang led the police to the forest, where the bodies of their victims were exhumed. They confessed to committing the crime, but said 5 other members, now at large, enlisted them into the kidnap business.
My role is that I should follow them to somewhere to rob. So when we went there, we kidnapped the man. After that, they lead the man inside the bush. So they will collected money from his family. So after that, then I say if they delay not to pay the money, they will kill the man.
This my friend, he can't call me. He say he can't call my house. He say they don't kidnap Baba, they don't kill Baba. I shock. The thing shocked me well because me with the Baba don't do well. So I can't meet her. I can't meet in friend. I can't tell her say I won't go. They waiting they pay me to make I see Baba dead body. And they pay me them burial.
How much were you given?
So after that, after 1 week, now how much? They can't give me 150,000.
Family members, while narrating how they lost their loved ones to the kidnappers, commended the police for their efforts, but were quick to demand for justice.
We missed him from the eve of New Year to 2023/2024. It was going for last day, Passover night. That's what the news we got. And all necessary sacrifice we have made before we heard about this information, very sadly.
I thank the Nigerian police for this extraordinary performance, because for someone to locate this place, we have been suspecting so many things, but at the end, we don't even know that the parasite is just by our side.
The Commissioner of Police, who assured residents of adequate protection of lives and property, also assured that the fleeing members of the kidnapped gang will be brought to book to face justice.
It's just to reassure the well-meaning citizens of our avowed will to ensure that we keep the place safe and secured, and to equally use the opportunity to warn all criminal elements that they can only run, but they cannot hide.
This is coming barely 2 weeks after 3 suspected kidnappers who kidnapped travelers along Shagamu-Ileshan Expressway were neutralized by men of the command.
In the meantime, the Ogun State government says that it is initiating strategic reforms in the education sector of the state's economy in line with the 21st century realities and international best practices in vocational and information communication and technology. The State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Aribabu, while presenting permanent employment letters to 118 successful teachers who have participated in the 2-year Ogun Tech intern scheme in Abeokuta, the state capital, said reforms in the sector has become important.
That's why we are having this kind of sitting once again. The education sector has remained one of the critical focus of the administration, and this has been followed with a renewed vigor with focus in infrastructure development, abolition of all forms of charges, training and retraining of teachers for quality service delivery. And as part of efforts to improve the teaching and learning process, especially in the face of the 21st century challenges, the state government is introducing more reforms in its technical education for middle-class manpower development, with focus on digital literacy.
Those who need communication, we give them, and those who need digital skills to do that. And of course, we have done the digital literacy training for our teachers, for education officers, and so on like that, to further increase technology integration. And because we are already keen into technology in Ogun State, we want it to be sustainable. We want all our education officers to actually be able to use technology to do everything that we're doing. We want all our teachers to be able to use technology to do all what we're doing. We want our learners in schools to be able to use technology so that the education sector will actually be driven and will be in tandem with what is happening all over the world.
To ensure the realization of the desired level of development in the sector, the state government has commenced the issuance of permanent employment letters to the newly qualified teachers from its 2-year compulsory internship program. This took place at a ceremony in Abeokuta, the state capital, to bridge the shortfall in the teacher-student ratio for quality service delivery.
The analysis I have shows that we have given 266 Ogun Teach interns permanent employment in Subeb. By September, when the school will resume, we will be giving another 254, making 520 for the primary sector. At the level of TESCO, we have given to date, we have given letters to 589. We have given letters to 589, and specifically this morning, we'll be giving letters to 118. We'll be giving letters to 118 to become permanent teachers to join the workforce of Ogun State.
Successful candidates are optimistic of a great future for the state's education sector.
He's a promise keeper, he's a father. I appreciate him for this. And I promise I will try all my possible best to do what I can do to make sure I succeed in this career and take all the learners and take them to the higher level within my capacity.
My job is to ensure to give a good transferring of knowledge to my students, and I'm been working towards that, and I promise to add more effort to my profession as a teacher.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has represented President Bola Tinubu at the presentation of a book of My Life in Public Eye, written by the former governor of Osun State, Chief Olusegun Osoba, where the federal government says that steps have been taken to address the current food security crisis in the country. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Personalities gather under one roof to celebrate the 85th birthday of former governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Osoba, and the presentation of his book, My Life in the Public Eye.
Your Excellency, how are you? Good to see you.
Vice President Kashim Shettima is representing President Bola Tinubu at the event, which has Senate President Godswill Akpabio, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, governors, former governors, and lawmakers, business tycoons, including Mr. Aliko Dangote, traditional rulers, and media owners among friends and family members of the celebrants. The book, My Life in the Public Eye, is the second to be written by Chief Osoba, and it x-rays his life in public service, with guests described as one of sacrifice to the nation.
My Life in the Public Eye captures public perception of who Olusegun Osoba is. The book succeeds in providing critical insights, not only to his person and his politics, but his craft as a journalist and a first-time author.
Osoba, my great Ano, I call him, has had a very distinguished journalistic career. I remember fondly his days in the Daily Times. He helped to shape the Daily Times to become, at the time, one of the most read newspapers in the country.
We are so close with him that I know that when he even left office, I always go to the house to consult him on various things. But let me start to say that he's a man of integrity. He's very transparent. And I remember when I wanted to build a cement plant, I went to see him one day. And that time, he wasn't really living even in the government house. I don't think if he has ever lived there. So he said, okay, fine. Well, Aliko, come and meet me up. So actually, I drove my Honda Civic at that time to go and meet up with him. And when I went there, he had already called PAMSEX, a lot of people. He said that, well, I called everybody because I want us to do it in the open. I want people to witness that what we are doing, so that, people will not go now and start talking something behind our back.
Governor Dakpo Abiodun commends Chief Osoba's contribution to the growth of democracy in Nigeria.
Chief Olusegun Osoba's contributions to development, stability, and progress of Nigeria and Ogun State are etched in our history and will continue to inspire us all.
Just as the Senate President, Senator Akpabio, who leads at the lawmakers, assures that President Tinubu will deliver on his renewed hope agenda.
I'm sure today you are delighted that you are alive to see the renewed hope agenda for this country. And in your lifetime, the hope of Nigeria will not be betrayed.
For Chief Osoba, there is so much to be thankful to God for, having escaped death 3 times during the years of military rule.
I thank all of you. God bless you. Those of you who are not 85, you live beyond 85. Those who are above 85, you live longer for me to watch. God bless you.
In his speech presented by Vice President Shatima, President Tinubu says his government is finding solutions to the economic challenges confronting the nation.
We must remember that unity and cooperation are essential. Our people must support our administration's efforts to create better living conditions for all. We are taking steps to address food shortages by temporarily removing tariffs on imported grains and other food items. We will continue to drive local production and ensure that we produce what we eat and use locally.
The Vice President then leads other guests to cut the birthday cake alongside the celebrant and his family members, while the book is unveiled and launched by guests present. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
And that's Newsroom Series. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu.